Okay, second video, tutorial scavenger hunt. So let's try to put this in a sheet, no? So several things we need to know. We create a sheet, and that's the one. And we also have different levels with different conditions of visibility in graphics. Remember VV, a shortcut for visibility in graphics. Each of these are categories. We just need to know what category to turn off, like doors. Say okay, and they are turned off here. VV, check, they're turned on. No? You can go to visibility in graphics by going to view, visibility in graphics, or by pressing this little tool here. It's the same way to get to the same place. Okay, good. Now that's different from manage. Manage has tools that define the file entirely. All the views, all the different views, you can change them by managing your project differently. For example, object styles. It's similar to visibility in graphics, but again, it changes features of the categories for the entire project. Good. Project units, the units for the entire project. Let's change that to feet and fractional inches, because the file we were given is actually under a metric system. So let's change that, cubic feet. And okay, now we start changing this to 1/8, 1/8, and 1/8. This one to half. 1 inch equals 10 feet. And in theory, the sections elevations they're given are changed automatically by changing the plans. Okay, let me close everything but this one. Other thing, we can select elements in the interface, and we can see here what category they belong. So if I wanted to hide this, I first select the C, walls, and then VV, set to walls, check, and they disappear. The same VV, check walls, and they appear. It's the same, by the way, as selecting, right click, hide in view category. That would be the same as hiding by going to the VV and checking and unchecking. Not element, which only hides that specific selection. Okay, if you select and unselect, you can also unhide afterwards. Okay, things like this X select says rooms. Well, VV R, uncheck rooms. Okay, there they are. Now start seeing similar to the other view, level 2, which is good. No, I could have a level 1 legend colors or room colors, and then another one level 1. That's the purpose actually of changing the visibility in graphics for each view. You take advantage of that. I'm going to delete this for now. I'm going to start dragging into our sheet. Okay, let's do it. First, plan 1, level 2. And here's the thing, 2 snapping process. 1 between the project to the project, which means if you have 2 plans here, they're snapping, they're aligning the project. The other snap is aligning the title for this specific window. Okay, so we want always to snap to the project when we enter, if you can, and then select independently, which is before nothing, the title moving and snapping. Okay, probably want to leave it there and move this one higher, snap to that. The way to change that line is actually selecting the window and getting those points and then snapping to the previous one. You can select both now and start moving with the arrows up and down, etc., etc. Okay, I'm gonna drag in a lot of things. They're not gonna make much sense. South elevation, again, snap to the project. As you can see, it's very big, so I'm not going to care much about that. I'll change it afterwards. East elevation, snap to the project. And now a section. We don't have a section, so I'm going to go to the level. I want to create a section of the piece that we were studying, which is the curtain wall. So I want to create a section there. View, section. There we go. Now the problem with that is that automatically we did a section here. We had 2, now we have 3. We can go to any level and that section will appear. So there's not a problem, it's just that you might want to have it in all of them. So if you go to the sheet now, that section appears in all the different views that are supposed to. So you might not want it in one of them, and you might want it in another one. So we'll see afterwards how we can start hiding things in different views as we did before, no? Okay, let's go elevations. Let's say north. Put it here. Let's say the new section that we created. Put it here, snap to the project. As you can see, it's kind of dirty now, but it's okay. And now let's do an actual thing. Let's go to the 3D. First thing I recommend, by the way, this 3D is the same as coming to this one. It's like the default 3D. I would recommend first always duplicating. Saying rename, right click, and call it something like isometric project. Saying okay, right click, duplicate view, duplicate, right click, rename, and you can call it something like isometric project detail. There we go. Now here's the thing, I don't know if you see it, but if you don't have this box, it could be hidden. You can press this one, and if it's red, you select and right click and unhide element or category. Or it could be that without selecting anything, you do not have this section box checked. So you see how it disappears, and selecting it, applying appears. So this section box you can turn on and off, and then select and pressing the arrows to make it smaller or bigger. So that's pretty much cutting the view. Control C that, because I moved the entire building. Those are sometimes tricky to select, but nevertheless they're good to work with. There we go. Got it. Now to hide it, select, right click, hide view, category. You don't want it there. And in isometric view, I'm going to do the same. Select. I'm going to make it very small. And I'm going to try to focus on the specific component that we're dealing with, which is the, not component, part of the building, which is the corner wall. Okay, so move and move. Probably a little bit more. And I'm going to leave it, actually no, I'm going to get rid of that balcony, which we don't need to see. There we go. There we go. This point I'm going to select the box, hide in view, category, and I'm actually going to hide the category of the beams, and the category of those grids, and the category of the roof. Okay, so it's nice. Okay, I'm gonna actually hide this one. It's not allowing me to see what's going on. There's some kind of a weird thing here. Category, you can select the furniture, category out, and okay, that's, oh, there's a pot here, which is an element here. We can hide an element. Good. So in order to straighten this, I probably want to select this little box, it centers, and place it there, the same as the isometric. Could be useful. Another thing we probably want to do is make it shaded or hidden line with shadows. Well, so there have that commonality, you know, hidden line, shadows. And again, that's selected. Good. So now we can go to the sheet and we can drag them in. Isometric project, which is the detail. Actually, no, did I? Oh, funny. I should rename them correctly, because for whatever reason I made that one. Let me see. Right click, rename. I think I changed it incorrectly. Detail. Let's call it 2, so it's not the same. And this one's gonna be rename and no detail. I did that change incorrectly. You can change them anytime you want and drag it in. Okay, good. So as you can imagine, we cannot have this the way it is. So let's start organizing. And the way to go is either going to the view, double click, and changing the scale in the bottom, changing the cropping view, cropping, etc., etc. Or you can do like paper space, model space in AutoCAD, which is double clicking on each view. You access in a way the window that you want to go into, and here this all changes, and you can start changing the scale and things. Let's say hidden line, turn on the cropping view, selecting allows you to change that. allows you to change that. That's good. And the way to get out of that is right click, deactivate view. Another way to get to the view is selecting and activate view, but I like the double clicking. Now obviously this is not correctly placed, so you can probably select it and move it until it snaps. And again, as I say, first select the window, you get the points, snapping, no? Now those three are aligned. I can use the arrows to come up and down. Good. Next, this one is a little in the middle. Let's double click it. Let's turn on the cropping view. Select, make it smaller, 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 even more. You can change the scale. You can say, whoa, we changed that already. Let's right click, deactivate view. Good. I forgot here, double click, turn off the cropping view, right click, deactivate. So it's a lot of getting in by double clicking, turning on cropping views and start changing that best possible way. Now we don't know that, so let me actually right click, deactivate. First make sure that it's snapped to the project, then double click and change this. Actually it's quite good. There's no snapping. I wish they had snapping tools for that, but there isn't. So good, right click, deactivate view. Actually I forgot to say do not show the cropping view. Right click, deactivate view, double click. You can make this a little bigger. You can select these levels. You can go again, hide in view category, or I'm gonna go back, Control C, again VV. You can select levels from annotation categories. Check. Say okay. Should be hidden, and let's center this a little bit nicer. Turn off the cropping view. Oh, not that one, sorry. This one. Right click, deactivate, and let's move this to make sure it's snapped to the project. Arrows. Good. We start snapping this, snapping that, select points down, select points to the right. There we go. We're getting there little by little. You can put shadows here if you want it by double clicking and saying, oh, I want shadows. For the interior doesn't make much sense, so I'm not going to have it. Right click, deactivate view, double click. I'm going to turn on the cropping view, select the cropping view, make sure this align there and align here because I want to have things very clean. There you go. I don't want this section here, or I do. In this case, I'm not going to have it. I'm going to say hide element. Oops, sorry. I didn't select the section. I select the part of the section. Be careful with those things. Category. And you want to have the call outs there, which we'll explain next video tutorial. Turn off that. Right click, deactivate. You can select, go down, move to snaps, select view, move that one in, boop, snaps. Here's the thing, we probably want to have this in a bigger scale. X14, right click, deactivate view, and move it around here. Okay. I don't know if it's too big. If it's too big, you probably want to move this. So in general, it's a matter of cropping views and changing things. So I'm gonna start the next video, which is for the next sheet, having all these things figured out. So you go ahead and get to that point. In these cases, you probably want to hide things like the section mark by again selecting, deactivating, selecting, select, right click, hide view, category, right click, deactivate. If you want to hide view this one, you can say also deactivate view, etc., etc. And little by little you get your pieces organized. Okay, I'll leave it there and we'll get to the next video right after. Okay.